You are 21, and today is your first station shift as a firefighter. The bell over the station bay is real, the engine is there, and the empty chair at your family's breakfast table is real. You have wanted a career in public service that matters profoundly. You are tired of telling people that you are still figuring it out. When the department calls, you hear more than an opportunity. You hear an unmistakable answer to a complicated question. Who are you going to be? A firefighter. Two words, enough to fit on a jacket, strong enough to make your parents proud before they have even seen what the career demands of you. This is a modern American municipal department, not a universal rule. In another city, state, or country, hiring rules, medical credentials, ranks, and shift patterns can be different. The first lesson is that the uniform is not the career. Before this morning, you cleared written and physical screening, completed academy training, and, often, emergency medical training. Requirements vary by department. No movie can tell you exactly what your local route will require. Still, the feeling is familiar. You sign forms, you hand over your schedule, you learn that time will no longer belong to you in ordinary intervals. The responsibility follows you into each quiet room when the alarm is silent. Your telephone may be on the kitchen counter while you are asleep in the station. A birthday may happen while you are maintaining emergency equipment after an emergency. An invitation may be answered with one word that sounds simple but changes everything. Maybe. Earlier, on your first academy day, an instructor pointed at the turnout gear, the protective coat, pants, helmet, gloves, mask, and air cylinder piled on a bench. To you, it looked like protection. To the instructor, it was a test of whether you could remain dependable and effective while hot, exhausted, afraid, and observed. You put it on. Other recruits adjusted straps, trying not to look inexperienced. Your first serious fire comes on a night that had been unremarkable 5 minutes earlier. The station lights are low. Someone is finishing coffee, someone else is completing documentation. Then the dispatch tone cuts through the room, sharp enough to rearrange everybody's expression. The address comes over the speaker. A residence, possible occupants inside. You are moving before fear has time to introduce itself. Coat, pants, helmet, gloves, seatbelt. The engine pulls out, and red reflections fill the streets. Through the windshield, every vehicle that fails to move feels personal. Your officer, the crew member who directs your unit, communicates in concise phrases. Your partner checks your equipment. You watch the block numbers slide past and try to remember every academy procedure at once. At the address, the training becomes smaller and more specific. Smoke, a family outside, a neighbor pointing at an upstairs window. One crew of firefighters extends a hose line. Another crew positions a ladder. Your responsibility is not to create a brave image. Your responsibility is to do the exact thing your officer tells you to do in the location where the crew needs you. Firefighters operate through coordinated teams because the scene is too dangerous for a single person's story. Inside, the heat presses through the equipment. The smoke removes the scale of the room. You can see almost nothing, then suddenly too much, a doorway, a fallen chair, a flashing beam of light, your partner's hand. You search. You listen. You feel the hose move. You hear a radio request for an update. And you understand why clear, deliberate communication is a form of protection. The call ends without the clean ending you expected. Everybody gets out. The fire is controlled. The family is alive. But the house is damaged. And the people on the sidewalk are staring at what remains of a place that had contained their entire daily routine. You help secure equipment. You remove the mask. Cool air reaches your face. Nobody gives a speech. The engine returns to the station because another emergency may come. Later, you sit at the kitchen table with the fire company. Someone recounts an incident from years ago. Someone makes a joke that is not funny outside this room. You learn that humor is not the opposite of seriousness. Sometimes it is how people carry it. You do not know what to say, so you listen. When you finally get home, your apartment is uncomfortably quiet. You shower longer than necessary. Your partner asks how the shift was. You answer, busy. The word is accurate and useless. You do not want to bring smoke into the room. You also cannot explain why a dark hallway now appears when you close your eyes. The profession has given you a new language with your crew and taken words away from you at home. After the first fire, you notice what memory keeps. Not the red lights, not the smoke from a distance. It keeps your partner's glove on your shoulder, the hose moving in darkness, and the family watching from the pavement. The scene returns in pieces. Years pass in station meals, early morning operational documentation, drills repeated until they become instinct, and calls that no headline ever records. You learn the fire vehicles and equipment, the neighborhoods, the buildings that make your stomach tighten, and the difference between someone who is loud and someone who is truly in trouble. You can anticipate what a crew will need before they ask. Younger firefighters begin observing your hands the way you once observed everyone else's. At 33, after years of drills, calls, and mentoring, you complete the local process for an officer role. The exact ladder is local. One department may use engineer, lieutenant, captain, battalion chief, and chief. Another may arrange titles and responsibilities differently. The transition is recognizably demanding. You stop measuring yourself only by whether you can do the operations. You start measuring yourself by whether the people around you can do it safely because of your decisions. You become an officer. Your radio carries more weight now. In this composite department, your assignment is to coordinate your company and mentor newer firefighters. At larger incidents, formal command roles follow the local incident management structure, the local system for organizing a large emergency rather than a universal rank rule. You check an inexperienced firefighter's air and observe their expression when they say they are fine. A building that would once have made you feel small now gives you a map of responsibilities. At 47, after serving as an officer and building trust with crews in the city, you are selected as fire chief in this composite department. You take the responsibility because you believe you can make the department better. Crews prepared, equipment ready, and dangerous assumptions challenged early. You want the city to understand that the fire department is more than a truck that arrives in smoke. The desk is farther from the flames, but it is not farther from risk. Now risk arrives in staffing, equipment, and calls for more people than you have. You make decisions that affect crews you cannot see. You remember being the rookie learning to trust a mask. Then an overnight storm floods several neighborhoods while a warehouse fire draws units across the city. In this composite department, the incident commander, the officer assigned to direct the immediate fire ground, runs the warehouse response. You are at the command post with maps, radios, and updates arriving faster than any one person can absorb. Resources are constrained. Crews are exhausted. Families are waiting for communication. At the command post, every update changes the shape of the decision. A road closes, a crew reports fatigue, water rises another step. You mark the map, ask again, and choose before certainty arrives. Leadership is not seeing everything, it is accepting that delay is also a choice. For the first time in years, you miss the clarity of being a firefighter at the door. Back then, the task was physical. Find the hose line, find the room, find the person. Here, the incident commander directs the warehouse fire. You coordinate the city's reserve vehicles and crews not yet assigned to another call. A flooded senior building needs evacuation. The last available engine crew not already assigned can either remain ready for the rest of the city or carry that evacuation. You send the crew to the building. Elsewhere in the city, other calls must wait. Residents reach dry ground before dawn. You accept both consequences. The old ambition returns in a strange form. You wanted authority because authority looked like freedom. At the top, you learn that authority is often the opposite. Every decision is attached to a person's name, a neighborhood, a crew, a budget, or a family. You cannot disappear into a crowd. You cannot transfer the radio to a more experienced officer. You are the person other people look toward when the information is incomplete. Your family is older now. They know what the tone means. They know that an emergency during a scheduled night shift may keep you away until long after the planned work has changed. They know not to ask for details while you are still processing them. That knowledge is a kind of love, but it has been accumulated through years of interruption. You feel gratitude and grief simultaneously. The occupation has not stolen every moment, it has made every unmissed moment more deliberate. At dawn, the incident is contained. Crews return in pieces, not as a triumphant image, but as exhausted people removing helmets, drinking water, checking on each other, and going home to whatever version of home is waiting. You walk through the station and see the young firefighter you once were in every inexperienced face. Their equipment looks clean, their confidence looks borrowed from the people around them. You know the road ahead will give them purpose. You know it will ask for a price. At 61, on your final day as chief in this composite career, not a universal retirement rule, you return to the apparatus bay before anyone else arrives. The station is quieter than you remember it being on your first morning. The engine is still red. The lockers still hold the same promise: protection, identity, belonging. On a bench, a preserved academy training facepiece, its clear lens scuffed from years of demonstrations, catches the early morning light. You touch it and remember the first time a mask sealed around your face. You thought the mask would separate you from danger. In truth, it introduced you to a life connected to other people by air, radio, training, and trust. You entered this career wanting a single clear answer about yourself. The answer turned out to be a relationship, to the crew, to strangers who called for assistance, and to the people who waited while you went. You think about every rung: recruit, probationary firefighter, experienced professional, officer, chief. The titles were never the whole story. Each one changed what you could accomplish. Each one also changed what you could promise at home. At first, you could leave a dinner because you were new and trying to prove yourself. Later, you could leave because a rookie needed guidance. At the end, you could leave because the whole department needed a decision. The reason became larger. The absence still had a shape. That does not make the career a mistake. It makes it a choice that needs honest witnesses. You cannot measure a life only by the fires you helped control or the emergencies you answered. You also have to measure it by the calls you returned, the apologies you made without excuses, the birthdays you protected, and the moments when you told the department that its people were not machines. The reversal is simple. You began wanting to be the person who ran toward danger. You come to understand that the deepest responsibility was never running in. It was helping people come back out. The civilian in a dark room, the firefighter beside you, the rookie who did not know when to request assistance, and the family member who needed you to return as more than a uniform. You show a young academy visitor the mask. You tell the visitor that the career can give them a direction, a crew, a community, and a reason to become stronger than they thought they were. You tell them it will also ask them to protect a life outside the station, because the people who love them should not become invisible proof of their commitment. You tell them that courage is not an identity you wear. It is a succession of decisions made when no choice is painless. Your entire life as a firefighter was never about becoming the bravest person in the room. It was about learning that the higher you climb, the less your life belongs only to you, and how to use that fact without losing the people who made the life worth living. Before you leave, the academy gives you the retired training mask as a keepsake. You bring it home, set it beside the chair you once left empty at your family's breakfast table, then pull that chair back and sit down. The mask remembers the work. Your return remembers who waited. Whose life should you live next?